During a meeting held at the United States' air base in Germany, the Ramstein Air Base, German Defense Minister Christine Lambrecht announced that Germany would be supplying Ukraine with Gepard 35mm self-propelled anti-aircraft gun systems. Military aid from Germany includes military training for these gun systems and approximately 50,000 rounds of ammunition for the flak tank, or the anti-aircraft gun. Lambrecht announced that Germany was ready to supply Ukraine with necessary military aid to defend its air systems against Russian aircraft. The announcement was made in April of 2022, with a pledge to supply Ukraine with 50 Gepard gun systems and a further 15 to be delivered in summer of 2022. The announcement was made a few days after the Ukrainian port city, Mariupol, was besieged by Russian forces. Ukrainian soldiers surrendered to the Russian army in hopes of a prisoner swap that is yet to occur. However, with Mariupol now under Russian forces, the people of Ukraine are becoming increasingly concerned over the fate of Severodonetsk. The Russo-Ukrainian War brought on the largest migrant crisis in modern-day Europe, with over 7.4 million Ukrainians leaving the country. However, in spite of the government's announcement to retreat, estimates suggest that some 10,000 people remain in Russia's next target, Severodonetsk. With NATO refusing to pick sides, largely due to Russia's threats of withholding ammunition and equipment for the Western world in case of any retaliation from the organization, Ukraine sought the help of its allies, namely the United States and Germany. Without the support of its allies, Ukraine would have fallen by now. The Flugabwehrkanonenpanzer Gepard, better known as either the Cheetah or the Flakpanzer Gepard, is an anti-aircraft armored fighting vehicle. The gun system is an all-weather system equipped with a German self-propelled anti-aircraft gun, SPAAG. The vehicle is based on the hull of the Leopard 1 tank. The Gepard consists of a rotating turret with the ammunition. That is, a pair of 35mm Oerlikon KDA autocannons. The armament also includes a tracking radar and a laser rangefinder. The tracking radar is located at the rear of the tank, and the rangefinder is loaded at the front of the tank, in between the guns. The Gepard self-propelled aircraft gun was developed by Germany in the 1960s and fielded in the 1970s. Since then, the gun system has been upgraded several times with the latest machinery and technology. Germany has used the Gepard gun system for its own use, as well as supplied the weapon for other NATO countries. However, in late 2010, Germany itself withdrew from the Gepard in favor of the Weissel II Ocelot Leichtes Flugabwehrsystem, or the LeFLASys. The Weissel consists of 4 FIM-92 Stingers. The Gepard, however, consists of 2 Oerlikon cannons with a firing rate of over 550 rounds per minute. This gives the gun system a continuous fire time of 37 seconds before running out of ammunition. Both guns hold around 680 rounds. When the Russo-Ukrainian War first began, several NATO states accused Germany of delaying arms supplies to the country. Germany, meanwhile, stated that the country was adhering to NATO guidelines. Before the April 2022 announcement made by the German defense minister, the country had only supplied lightweight weapons, such as rifles, mines, and anti-tank rockets, to Ukraine. This included millions of rounds of ammunition for the weaponry. However, heavy weapons had not been delivered. The Gepard would therefore be the first heavy machine weaponry to be supplied to Ukraine by Germany. In February of 2022, KMW, the German military defense company responsible for manufacturing and supplying the German military with the Gepard self-propelling anti-aircraft gun system, was given the green light by the German government to supply the Cheetah to Ukraine. This came with military clearance to transport the systems to Kyiv. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin appreciated Germany's move to support Ukraine in the multinational collective effort to arm the country against Russian invasion. The multinational effort so far is being supported by over 40 nations. The Gepard gun system is modeled as an anti-aircraft system. However, it can be used both as an offensive and a defensive weapon. The system can be used against helicopters flying at altitudes of up to 3,500 meters, or approximately 12,000 feet. It can also be used as a lightly armored ground tank against infantry vehicles and transport tanks. It is important to note that the Gepard, whilst able to counter ground defense to an extent, would stand no match against the larger tanks considering its relatively smaller caliber guns. The system can, however, effectively support Ukraine's air systems. The Gepard has a range of approximately 550 kilometers, or 340 miles on the road, and can travel through water without needing any additional supporting equipment. What makes the Gepard self-propelling anti-aircraft gun system an effective military weapon against Russia? Russian aircrafts outnumber the Ukrainian militaries by 100 to 1, if we go on the lower estimate. The Gepard is therefore a necessary weapon to counter the Soviet Russians' Mi-24 Hind helicopters that have a flying range within the gun system's capacity. The Cheetah has so far been supplied to several NATO countries, including the Dutch and Belgian armies. However, Romania is the only country today that uses the Gepard system. Another plus point for the Gepard is that unlike howitzers moved by vehicles, these systems can autonomously relocate after every round fired. The German defense minister made note of the fact that the Ukrainian army was largely untrained to support the Gepard gun system, which is why Germany announced that it would be supplying military personnel in addition to the systems and ammunition to train the Ukrainian army. So far, the German government has also participated in military swaps with countries like Greece and the Czech Republic by supplying their weapons to the nations in exchange for their Soviet-era weaponry to be supplied to Ukraine. It is unclear as of yet if the Gepard gun system would be swapped or would be used by the Ukrainian military. However, considering the country's seemingly weaker air defense against Russia, it's safe to assume that the Gepard would prove more than helpful for Ukraine in its war against Russia. With increasing threats of Russia's attack on Donbass, the Gepard gun system is necessary for Ukraine to maintain its hold. Notwithstanding numbers, it seems like the Russian army has so far not employed air-based weapons against Ukraine. However, military experts agree that any attack on Donbass would be from the sky. Comparing the Gepard with soldier-mounted Stinger missiles, the Gepard is self-propelled with a range of 37 rounds per minute. Not to mention its superior range potential and the ability to be mounted with additional equipment, such as rangefinders and laser weapons. The only manual support the Gepard would need would be to resupply the ammunition after its loading capacity decreases. The gun system consists of 90 caliber long guns with muzzle velocities of over 1,400 meters per second. This is known as the frangible armor-piercing discarding sabot rounds, therefore giving the Cheetah an effective range of 5.5 kilometers, or roughly 3.4 miles. The KDA autocannon can also take two different ammunition types. The first would be the usual loading mix of 320 AA combined with 20 armor-piercing rounds per gun. Both combined, the autocannon has a fire rate of 1,100 rounds per minute. One of the most major upgrades for the Gepard in recent years is its electrically driven turret, which is powered by a 40 kilowatt generator. This generator is driven by 4 cylinders with 3.8-liter Mercedes-Benz OM314 multi-fuel engines. The Gepard is based on a modified system of the Leopard 1 main battle tank. This includes a complete drive unity with a 37.4-liter and 10-cylinder multi-fuel engine. The engine type is MB838 CAM 500. The system also includes 2 additional superchargers built by the MTU. The system's V engine has a cylinder angle of approximately 90 degrees with a 610 kilowatt generator at the rate of 2,200 rounds per minute. Based on the surface and driving style, it would consume approximately 150 liters per 100 kilometers driven. The engine is supplied with a dry sump forced lubrication to ensure a steady supply of oil in difficult terrain and extreme skew. The gearbox, which is a Type 4 HP 250, is supplied with an exhaust system to supply fresh air admixtures. This is done so in a bid to reduce infrared signatures. The increased safety protections for the Gepard are all modifications from the Leopard 1 MBT. Ukraine is currently listed as the Gepard's future operators. With the German government's authorization to Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann, or KMW, to transfer 50 Flak Panzer Gepard anti-aircraft vehicles to Ukraine in April of 2022, the nation would be making use of the system by July of the same year. Whether Ukraine employs the same radar system, which is the S system being used by Germany, or switches it out for another system, such as the Dutch Army's use of the X system, is unclear. However, it's fair to say that the Gepard would prove instrumental in Ukraine's bid to protect Donbass from Russian invasion. What do you have to say about the Gepard self-propelling anti-aircraft system? Do you believe it should be retained by the Ukrainian army in the Russo-Ukrainian war? Or do you think it should be swapped with other weapons? Let us know in the comments down below. We'll see you back soon with another video.